So I think Becky likes to watch these. Okay, so we're going to just talk about business plan for how to kind of like lay out your months and set smaller goals so that you can kind of end up where you want to be. So like I said, I'll make like a form so you can see all of these things, but if you feel free to take notes or whatever, and obviously make this your own. So these goals don't need to be everyone's goals, but just kind of like a good place to start. Yes.
The popcorn popped and it's very hot and it's all done.
Okay, great. I have to finish my call. You
popped,
yeah.
And we saw it. Oh.
Great. Can you say hi to these guys?
Hi.
Okay.
Hi.
Okay, I'll be up when we're all done.
Okay, and he used the red bag.
Perfect.
It was super, super big.
Okay. Okay.
Hi.
Okay, so your monthly goals. Okay, so month one or just wherever you're starting, this can be a good place to start if you're kind of feeling a little bit directionless. So month one, kind of like your plan to get started, invite 45 to 50 people. So that seems huge, right? But if we break it down, if you just look at like, I have to invite 50 people, that's nuts. But if you're inviting 2 to 3 people a day, then it's not so much. Or if you break it down to you have like 10 to 15 people a week, it's not so much. So setting those smaller goals, even within these smaller goals, kind of makes these doable. So pick a number that seems realistic to you. If you think only inviting 1 person a day is realistic for you, then maybe you're only aiming for 30 to 40 people in that first month instead of 40 to 50. The more people you invite, the more likely you are to get yeses, right? That's kind of obvious. Not everyone's going to say yes. So kind of one of the biggest like overarching themes in this business, I think, is like if you're having trouble with whatever, find more people. If you're getting 10 to no's, find more people. If you're not recruiting people that want to work, find more people. So that the only way you do that is if you're inviting people. The second one is to reconnect with 50 to 60 people. So again, if we break that down, 2 to 3 people a day, just reconnecting, starting conversations, building trust, getting to know people, reacquainting yourself, things like that. And so some of those, especially in your first month, those inviting and reconnecting, you can be just inviting people with friend requests. If you're really brand new and you are starting with like 150 friends on Facebook like I had, you need to just be, and it doesn't necessarily have to be on Facebook if that's not where you're comfortable, but just like making new contacts. You don't have to be inviting 60 people to a challenge group your first month, but inviting them to something that you're doing, and maybe that's just a conversation. 15 to 30 minutes a day of personal development, making sure you're getting that every day. Pick a fitness program and follow it. And this is something that's kind of interesting. I can't remember. I feel like, Shan, maybe I talked to you about this last week or a couple weeks ago. When we were at Summit, they kept saying like over and over, and I didn't pick up on this so much last year, and maybe they were saying it, but over and over, everyone was like, we're challenging you to pick a program and start it and do the whole program. And so for me, and I know both of you guys are like pretty anal like I am about a lot of things. But for me, I was like, why is this something that they're having to say over and over and over? Like, duh, of course you pick a program and you finish it. But I think people don't do that, obviously, or else they wouldn't feel like they needed to say it. You know, you fall off for whatever reason and it's hard to kind of get going again. But I think that that's a really strong part of being proof the products work and making your story kind of match up with what you're trying to do. So if you are not sticking to a program and following it through, how in the world is anyone else going to trust you that they should be picking a program and doing the whole program? So I think that's a really important one. The next thing on this list is be posting on whatever you're posting. If you're using social media, 2 to 3 posts a day. And I know we've talked a little bit about this, but just in case people are listening to, or that kind of overwhelms you, don't post just to post, right? You want things that are valuable. And so some days you may just not have anything super valuable to say, but try and find those little moments that you can share that are valuable to other people. And sometimes this is something I'm not very good at that I've been thinking about a lot lately, is when you find those things that people really respond to, just because you know it and you've already said it and you've already taught someone, that doesn't mean everyone has already seen your post about it. So don't repeat it like 4 days in a row, but pay attention to those things that seem like they're helpful or that people respond to really well, and use them again. Shan, I don't know if you've seen her, but Ashlyn is a girl that is really good friends with Tiffany. She has like this amazing Instagram account. She does the same things like over and over and over and over again. And she does them over again because they're getting a good response every time. So she does this thing. She has like an egg waffle that she makes that actually is amazing, and I started making because of her Instagram account. But like every month probably she does some kind of post on her egg waffle. And I have a really hard time like remembering to keep sharing like the same parts of my story again, because in my head, like, oh, I already talked about how one time I finally decided to follow a meal plan and then I lost weight. So everybody already knows that. And I mean, the truth is Facebook is weird and people aren't seeing every single post, right? And everyone's on there every day. And so even if I post like once a week, like T25 changed my mind about fitness programs because I finally decided to follow the meal plan and then I actually lost weight for the first time ever. Everyone's not hearing that story every time. And I think that's a pretty powerful part of my story that I should share more often. So don't be afraid to share the same things again. Sometimes exactly the same post maybe, and sometimes just with a tiny little bit of different wording or a different picture or something like that. Get on weekly team calls. So we have this call I'm trying to do every other week. There is a Team Inspire call the first week of the month, the Rockstar team call, which is Tiffany's upline, the third week of the month, and then sometimes there's some other calls mixed in there. So try and jump in and be a part of those. We try to keep them at just one a week so that it's not overwhelming. Weekly or more or less often coaches or calls with just me as you want them. I haven't been super like, I don't know what the word is, like forceful about scheduling these, but I am really super happy to get on here weekly with you guys individually if you want that and need that. And then the last goal for your first month or wherever you're starting this is to help people through Challenge Pack sales, which will put you in success mode. So that's month one. And then we go to month two, where you're repeating those month one items. You're also trying to add 1 to 2 new contacts a day, which would be 30 to 40 new people added to your list. And this second month, you want to try to start inviting people to coaching. So you should have a goal there of inviting 5 to 10, which is kind of a lot. I mean, if you feel like 5 is a big reach for me, then maybe your goal is inviting 2 to 5 people to coaching. Some months you'll have more. Some weeks you'll be like, oh yeah, I can invite like everyone I know to coaching. At least that's how it works for me. Sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, all these people, these are great people to invite. And then I'll go a couple weeks where I don't have a 10. And then the second month goal is sign 1 coach. Month 3 is repeat months 1 and 2 goals, and then try to increase your challenge pack sales if you can to 3 to 5 instead of just getting to 3. So that's kind of just a framework and I think a way to kind of pay attention to what you're doing so that you're building on what you're working on gradually and in small steps every day, so it's not this huge overwhelming thing. Another thing that's helpful, and these are online, like in your online office, but also I think I'm going to make one of these to post, is using a business activity tracker. And like I said, I'll make one that you can use, but I think everyone kind of finds their own system that works for them because we don't all like recording things the same way. But basically, usually the business activity trackers are set up like a spreadsheet. And you guys both love spreadsheets, right? Like, I'm pretty sure no, Amy? No? I feel like I've talked to both of you guys about spreadsheets, and I really love spreadsheets. Like, So anyway, I think it's fun, but not everyone like loves filling out forms as much as I do. I recognize it's a weird thing. But anyway, you have like a spreadsheet, and then you have your daily things that you need to work on. So those goals that we just laid out are your, like, I'll do it on this side for you guys, are your columns on the left. So like having your Shakeology, getting a drink, or getting a workout. So you're being proof the products work, working on a program. That's one thing that you can check off every day so you can visually see and track yourself if you're doing what you need to do. The next one would be your personal development, that you're actually getting those minutes in. The next one, reconnecting. And when you write these out, there's like a column that I'll make that has like your goal for the week. So if you're on reconnecting and your goal is like five a week, then you can go across, and on your spreadsheet you can write how many people you reconnected with each day in your columns for the days. Inviting, same thing. And when we say invite, I know I kind of said this, but invite to your free groups, invite to challenge groups, invite to be your friend, invite to coaching. They all count. Any kind of inviting to anything, but basically just talking to people and asking them. Your next line down is social media, so getting those posts in, again, setting a goal for how many and tracking what you actually do. And the last one that I think is important that I've been working on is unplugging. So you're not just staying like with your phone, with your messaging, with Messenger on all the time and like, oh, let me talk to this person. I have to answer this question really fast. Working on just like, these are my business hours. This is when I'm working, and not being in all day long. And I think that's an important one that we kind of overlook, and it's really easy to kind of get in the mix. And that's kind of the basics of what I have. Like I said, I'm going to type those up, and I will put them on our team page, hopefully in the next couple of days. But hopefully that's kind of helpful, just as like kind of a way to lay out these goals and how to like have a focus, a direction where you're going. So, questions, thoughts, feelings? Nothing? Good. Anything else like not related to this at all that you guys want to chat about, want to work on as a team?
Yeah, I guess maybe I have something.
Okay.
I know for me, like I use my fitness page like only for, my Beachbody stuff. I don't really use my personal page, but like I'm trying to figure out like who my target is, like who is my audience, who am I speaking to? I feel like I'm kind of like stuck because I don't have kids. I don't have we've talked about this before that like, that you and I, like, we both work, so, like, who are we talking, like, who are we speaking to? So, like, some of my personal development lately has been, like, that stuff, like, finding, like, what questions you need to ask yourself to find out who you need to talk to.
Yeah.
I think it's really hard, actually.
It is really hard, and we've talked about this a lot, and that's something that I've worked on a lot lately, too, and I don't remember if I've told you this, so sorry if this is a repeat, but I took 10 minutes. Oh yeah. Did I talk about this on a call a couple weeks ago that I made this list? Maybe it was just me and Shanna. I don't know if you can read this. Can you read that at all? It's kind of blurry. Yeah. Anyway, so I sat down basically one day and I just wrote down this was like a couple weeks ago. I just wrote down a list of words, just like words or very short phrases that I thought described me. And I wrote it down on a paper so that I could, and I kind of want to show you this other thing that I've been doing too for organizing my brain that I think helps. But I wrote down on a piece of paper like this, and I'll read you a few. Tired was my first one. That must have been a rough day. That's the very first thing I wrote down. Tired, mom, newborn, working, motivated, organized, loves exercise, loves food. And then I put like trouble with a balance between the two, nursing and pumping. I'm a lazy cook, but I like cooking. I like baking, and I really like eating cookies. I'm confident. I'm really cheap. I want to get out of debt. And then like a couple stores that I like. Really sarcastic. I used to be a gym rat. Okay, so just like things like that describe me, who I am. and I put it on a piece of paper and I put it up on my whiteboard that I sit in front of when I work. And so when I'm writing posts, I can look at that. Not like I don't know who I am, right? I know who I am, but for whatever reason, when I'm writing posts, I'm trying to think about who I'm writing to and like what they want to hear. And I think it's been helpful for me to have this list of who I am, like staring me in the face, so that it kind of reminds me, okay, this post, I'm going to talk about newborns. I mean, that's just the first word I saw, right? But so I can kind of direct that a little bit more towards me. And I think obviously like you got to figure out who you are before you can make that list. But I would say, Amy, for you, things like people, I mean, you have like such a strong story, right? In your weight loss and just deciding that you needed to make a change in what you were going to do. And that's something that I've been like, oh, this is why I'm never going to be good in this business, because I haven't had this like amazing weight loss transformation. So I think it's just like when it's your own story, it's harder to see that people want to hear that over and over again, right? Like what I was saying before. And I think probably at least that part of your story is like, you should share that once every week or two, like share something about your transformation and how that changed your life, because those are the stories that like, people are like, oh, Amy did it, I can do it, you know? I think like athletic training, I have a hard time. You do, I think, a really good job of kind of working that in when you're like at work all day or working really late, and how you're kind of making that work. But I think, I mean, you can talk about things like your job situation, you know, to a certain extent, and like how you're dealing with stuff. And I've said this, I know before, but breadcrumbing that story, right? So picking out just tiny pieces and not giving the whole thing at once, which is kind of my problem because I just keep talking even when I'm in posts. But breadcrumbing your story, but also, oh my gosh, I totally lost my train of thought. It's gone. It's totally gone. But just putting those little pieces of your story out and then sharing, oh, I know what I was going to say. Sharing stories, but only sharing parts of that journey where you have learned something already, right? So, and that's obvious. Like, I don't think you ever are like, my job sucks, everything's terrible, period, post. You know, like no one, you're not doing that ever. You kind of have to find the good spin and how you fix that problem or how you're working on it. You don't have to have it totally solved, but how you're kind of working through that so that people know you're a real person that's struggling with whatever. But yeah, I think that list has been helpful for me. That would be my suggestion, because it's been good. Even if I sit down and I think those things, like, okay, this is who I am, then I go down to like write a post and suddenly I have no idea who I'm talking to anymore. And so having that actual physical list written down in front of me has been really helpful to look at. Jan, were you going to ask something before? Sorry.
I've been curious about inviting and reconnecting. Well, inviting, I haven't really done a lot of one-on-one inviting right now. I'm just pulling from people who are liking posts and commenting on posts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's going to be the hardest part for me, and I think it is for a lot of people, just reaching out for people that you haven't talked to in decades and barely talked to before, being like, hey, what's up?
Right.
So.
And that's something I've kind of gotten to the point to where, that was so many weird words in that sentence. I've gotten to that point right now where I've kind of run out of like the people I'm comfortable with, you know? Yeah. And so I'm having to go to like, oh, we have 40 mutual friends, and then I have to send them and I was doing that for a while. But then I was like, what do I do with these people? I'm never going to talk to this person that I maybe said hi to in high school, I think, but I'm not really sure. So I actually I can share it, because I don't think this is on my thing that's like my 5-step process that's in the group. This is like a new thing that I've been doing more recently. But I have like a short little script that I've been using that's like I don't really know you, but I want to get to know you.
Right.
That might be a good kind of guide just to kind of, I mean, obviously you need to make it your own because it's not going to say mine, but I can share that. I'll add that in our group page because maybe that's helpful. And I have a cold, I don't, is my cold invite script up in there too?
I believe so.
You just don't know it all. And I had, like, that kind of freaked me out to use that one. But I had like a fair amount of success, at least just starting conversations with people. And I sold like 1 or 2 challenge packs the month that I was like really hitting it hard on the cold invite. I sold a couple challenge packs to people that, like, this one girl, I still feel bad. Like, I didn't do a good enough job getting to know her after the fact because I felt like I should know her and I was embarrassed. So I didn't like ask her lots of questions, but I seriously like sent her the email saying, can I send you this information? She said, sure. I emailed it to her and she was like, okay, great. How do I sign up? And I was like, whoa, that never happens. And I still like, I'm like, did I go to high school with her? I'm not sure who she is. But she got a program. So sometimes it's like, it's just timing, right? And people are really ready and they're like, yes, I'm so glad you asked me because I've been looking for something. And you never know who those people are and when that's going to happen. So in my experience, some people have had really bad experiences where people like get pissed at them and like go crazy about how they're so irritating. I honestly have had that happen one time in 2 years. Most people, I think, if you're not being super creepy and weird, most people are like, no, I'm not interested, and then you can leave them alone, right? Or just have a friendly conversation. But most people don't really get pissed. So I don't know why we're like so scared of offending everyone by inviting them to something that we really love and is really working for us, because it's not like you're trying to sell them like a feather boa, that no one wants. I don't know why that's what just came into my head. But like, you're selling something you really love and has really helped you and you want to help people. You're not just doing it to be a weirdo.
Right. What email do you send out? I think I've seen some.
So with the cold invite script, I'll say, this is what I'm doing. I'm not sure if it's something you'd have any interest in doing at all, but if you'd like, I can send you an email with the details, or I can send you the details. And then if they say like, sure, that sounds great, then I'll say, okay, would you mind if I emailed it to you? And then they give you their email address. There was something I was listening to, I think it was like Shalene did a podcast about, I don't know, it was like selling without selling or something probably. We're ending in 10 minutes. And anyway, one of the things she said was, don't say, can I have your email address? Say to people like, I would really love to send you this. What's the best way to do it or something? And so they feel like they're giving it to you rather than you're just taking stuff. Right. And I think sometimes wording like that is really key. And so there are a lot of people that I'd be like, oh, if you're interested in just checking it out, and they'd be like, oh, sure, send me the email. Like, I don't think anyone was like, no, please leave me alone. I think everyone I sent that message to was like, yes, please send me the email, or they just didn't respond. Right. I was really surprised how effective that little campaign was, but I just haven't done it in a little while.
Well, an email is like really huge. That's like everything about personal development, that if you get somebody's email, like, you have them, they're probably more likely to read it. If you're using like Facebook ads, like eventually if you get to that point, you can match your audience to your email list. Like, they can find like people that are just like them. So it's like a very, very useful tool. Mm-hmm. So that's why like email is big.
Right. That's why like a lot of people push like building your list is what you should do before you do anything else, is you should build your email list. And there are times my email list is rather small, but there are times like I'll do posts and posts and posts and no one says anything, and I send out an email to my whole email list, and then like 7 people are like, oh yeah, I'd love to do that group this month. So because Facebook things get hidden, your email is much more personal and it's going right to you and you actually get it. So yeah, email is big. The other thing, just kind of, sorry, this is a side note. If you have other questions, do you have another question? Go ahead.
What kind of content do you put in that cold email? Is there a script of things?
Yeah, I think they're up on our team page.
I think they may be. I just wanted to double check.
Let me look. I'll just look while I'm on here. Let's see. I thought I posted everything in here. So my 5-step process. Okay, so if you go into like the file section on our team call, usually I will talk to them a little bit kind of about what their like goals and things are, what they like, what they hate. Like we have that conversation. And then once I've kind of narrowed it down to a couple different programs, then the emails are specific to the programs. So in that file section, it says PIO email, hammer and chisel email, 21-day fix email. And then the cold invite script kind of builds up to that. And you can, I've edited those so that they make sense to me how I like them. Obviously, you can edit them how they work. But yeah, I like those a lot. The only other thing I wanted to show you guys, and maybe you don't care, but so this is my whiteboard. And this is what I asked for my birthday last year because that's how cool I am, and I was super excited that I got a whiteboard. But I don't know if you guys can read this, but this is another way that it just kind of helps me visualize what I have going on and who I'm keeping track of. So it's kind of like a funnel. So over here I have, this is like my current challenger list. So people that I know, I can say like, oh, I haven't heard from Jessica. She hasn't checked in all week. I better send Jessica a message. So it just kind of keeps it like right in front of me. So I can kind of stay on top of people a little better. Potential coaches, so people I'm talking to or people that I want to invite or to kind of keep in my head. Even if they've said no or like not right now, I'll keep them on this list. This girl has been on this list for like, every once in a while I'll take them off. But this girl's been on this list for like a year, over a year, because I know she is going to be a coach and she's going to be awesome, but she's just not ready. And so every once in a while, like every couple months, I'll send her a message just to chat, not to harass her about coaching, but just to chat and say hi so that she knows I'm still thinking about her and haven't forgotten about her. This is my coaches, and then I have like a left and a right, what their rank is. If they're inactive, I have little marks on there. So that way I can kind of say like, okay, right now at a quick fast glance, I have 5 people on my left leg, 4 on my right. So I kind of know where I'm at. This rest is just kind of like ridiculous stuff I'm scribbling on here. So I have a free group that I'm starting next week that you guys are welcome to invite people to. If you want to do that, we're just going to do a Beachbody on demand, and I'll do like meal plans and stuff. And I boosted my post for $5 only to people that like my page and their friends. And I got like 6 or 7 people today saying like, I really want to do your free group. So this is something I'm going to try really hard to start doing more consistently because I've not been good about free groups, but it's a really good way to kind of have people in your pipeline. And then this right here is my like power hour list so that I remember to stay on track. So PD, invite, check into my group, add contacts, make comments and make conversations, and then do follow-ups. So that's just so I kind of, if I lose my focus and get distracted, then I know what I'm supposed to be doing to get back on track. So sorry, tonight I'm kind of all over the place, but I feel like that kind of visualizing of it has really helped me kind of stay focused on who I'm talking to. I also, this is my very fancy, like, this is my list I'm working from for like invites. So straight or follow-ups, new invites, coaching invites, free group invites, and then I have like just people I want to message down here, follow up with. Yeah.
Is your whiteboard what Tyler posted in Team Inspire?
It is similar.
I started watching it, but then I got annoyed and I just didn't finish.
The one he was talking about today, it's different. So his kind of is, but his more isn't like something. I don't know if it was. I only watched half of that call. It was in another group, and then he shared it in that group. And I watched half of it today, and it was like kind of like this, kind of like how you're funneling, because his went down to like emerald, your diamonds, and your star diamonds. And he was talking about like troubleshooting, like if this list is really big and this list is super tiny, like what's happening in between here that your funnel isn't like being more even. So he talked a little bit more about like troubleshooting, which was kind of helpful. But same basic idea he just wasn't focusing on like use this to keep track of people. He was showing like this is what your funnel should look like, if that makes sense. Yeah. Anything else?
Nope.
Amy, you tired? Not so much. I'm just boring you today.
No,
Just
I'm
kidding.
just thinking. I have a lot to do, and I don't want to do any of it, truthfully.
I understand.
I just want to like hang out and do nothing.
You should do it. They're having popcorn movie night upstairs. You should come over and
I'm jealous.
we're watching Peter Pan, I think, and eating popcorn.
Ugh.
I can smell it. It smells really good. So make a plan. I'll post this. I'll try to get this done. Hopefully tomorrow I'll have some time and I can type it up.
What do you think of the challenge tracker?
Oh, I wanted to ask you guys. I'm glad you brought that up with 2 minutes left in this call. I need to just upgrade and freaking pay for Zoom so that I can do calls as long as I want. I really like the portal, but I think kind of like what people were saying before we even started this, like people just aren't in there as much, I think. So there doesn't seem to be as much engagement as in other groups. It's harder to follow the posts, I think. Like I'm in there and I'm like, oh,
Yours gets lost.
people commented on my stuff, or like people asked me a question and I didn't even see it until like 7 hours later. So I don't think I'm going to use it very much unless I need to. I like the idea of it, but
I don't like how you can't like just log everything together, that everything like has to be separate. Like I want to be able to like log my workout, log my Shakeology, like all in one thing. Like I don't want to have to post and then post again. And I just like I just like picture collages and just get it all done at once.
yeah.
So that's like the one thing that like I don't like. And if you do it past like a certain date, it won't share your picture with the group.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I did that one day, like, but it still logged it for me, like it still counted it, but it didn't share it with the group. So like I didn't like that.
Yeah, that is weird. And I guess if it's like a workout, I don't know, who cares, right? I haven't really gone in there because I guess and you, because you're set up as a coach, we can see like more stuff. Like I think I can see everyone's like before and after pictures, even if they don't get shared with the group, and I can see their goals, even if they don't get shared, which is kind of cool, I guess. But so you can have like some amount of privacy happening in your big group, but I don't know. I might have to
Probably won't use it unless it's something like this again.
right, or like I have a bunch of
more app.
people, or if I have